And welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here today, we're going to be doing our first 5-year rebuild, as we will be rebuilding the Carolina Panthers. You guys see it in the title. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, today we will be rebuilding the Carolina Panthers. Very excited to do so. Over the last, now I believe it's the last 2 seasons, this team has been one of the worst teams in the league. And it's going to be a lot of fun rebuilding them over the next 5 seasons. We'll see how much we can truly accomplish in today's video. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're trying to become, trying to win a championship with every single team. So let's get to know this roster. First and foremost, Bryce Young is their starting quarterback. The Panthers traded up a haul to go get him a couple years ago. And Young was star development, rookie scale contract. The first few seasons of this rebuild, we should be able to surround him with a plenty amount of talent. And hopefully Bryce Young becomes the franchise quarterback that we believe he can be. The Panthers went out there and brought in 2 offensive linemen here in Robert Hunt and Dion Lewis here. Really improving this offensive line. All 5 of them are star development, and very happy about that. In the first round of this past NFL draft, Xavier Legette was selected, 23 years old, and I'm hoping that Legette will become our true legitimate #1 wide receiver. It's something that the Panthers have been trying to figure out, I feel like ever since Steve Smith, that area. Here we also have Jonathan Brooks, rookie running back. And I think with Brooks's just hidden development and age, we're going to give him as many opportunities as we possibly can. Just to start out, I know they have Juba Hubbard here, they have Miles Sanders, but might as well get the rookie involved. Defensively, after trading away Brian Burns, this defense is not looking too bright, it feels like. They have J.C. Horn as well as Derek Brown. You got 2, prime good players, especially in Derek Brown here. But this defense needs to find truly their identity, it feels like. Really, what are we? The Panthers brought in Javian Clowney after having a very productive season. This defense here, they need a lot of work. We need to find a little bit more color here. And they did draft Wallace here, Trevin Wallace here, a young rookie linebacker. Maybe we get him an opportunity to make some plays on the field. And this defense is weirdly constructed because it's a 4-3 defense, but you have Derek Brown playing on the outside when he's more of a defensive tackle, I think. Yeah, this team is weirdly constructed. But I think first and foremost, we'll get through year 1, the first season. We'll see what we can do. As well as the Panthers did trade also for Deontay Johnson here. Quality receiver. No idea what's happening with his hair currently, but Deontay Johnson, true legitimate very good #2 receiver, and I think he could help out, what's his name, Xavier Legette a lot. So we will be relying on a boatload of the youth that this team has brought in, but I'm gonna go sim probably to the midway point for you guys, and then we'll see if we want to make any sort of trades or anything. So yeah, guys, let's get to the midway point. Well, we're halfway through year 1 and we're 3-4. So far we've done okay. We're kind of a bottom team everywhere besides in passing offense, which is pretty good overall. 7th there, but right now we're 3rd place in the division. Kind of struggling, but the Saints are 0-7, so that's at least something to think about. Let's look at some stats here. So, if we're gonna be making any sort of moves, we'll kind of see it here. Bryce Young, so far, playing solid football, not too upset about that. Jonathan Brooks, 3.6 yards per carry. That's kind of the thing that you don't want to be seeing, but so far, I am not going to make anything change there. Receiving wise, I want to get Xavier Legette more of the football. I believe Adam Thielen is playing to the slot, so I am going to make that change for Legette, just trying to get him as many opportunities as possible. Offensive line, playing good football. Yeah, I mean, I think we have a true chance this season. Defensively might be where we're kind of being held back. We're not getting too many sacks or anything, but I am going to make the move to change Legette to the slot receiver. But let's also look at some contracts here. We have $66 million, and we have a good amount of players that are needing new deals. So let's start at the top. Deontay Johnson wants a 3-year, $37 million. He's 28 years old. No interest in coming back, and I don't have a lot of interest in keeping him. Jordan Fuller here, 26 years old. Let's look at his player card. More of his zone cover or safety. His ratings are pretty good. I think Jordan Fuller here is a good 3-year investment overall wise. He has interest in coming back. The cap hit is not bad at all. Let's make it a solid 18. And Jordan Fuller is back. He re-signs with us. Shaq Thompson here. I would have interest in bringing him back, but I kind of want to see what regression does with him. Austin Colbert here. He is a good center. I think it's this kind of the same philosophy. I think for Colbert and Johnson, we'll wait until the end of the year with Thomas. Chuba Hubbard, no, we're good. Xavier Woods. This is an interesting decision, but he's normal dev. Probably not going to be keeping him. Terrence Marshall. No, I don't think that any of these other players are going to be re-signing. So the real question, though, is players like, Terrence Marshall here, Xavier Woods, Chuba Hubbard, any of these guys here, do we want to trade them? Try to get some extra picks, and maybe we do that. Let's see if I can make a trade here. We are 3-4, so we can kind of afford to be kind of sellers in this midway point. So let's try to make a trade here and see what we can do. I'm not really finding any sort of trade partners, so let's just sim to the end of the season and see if we can make the postseason. Well, surprise, surprise, the Carolina Panthers have made it to the postseason. As a wild card team, we went 9-8, which is kind of surprising in my opinion. Let's view this playoff bracket. We snuck into the postseason as the 7th seed. And this would be to me at least, this would be a real surprise if the Panthers got into the postseason. We were kind of a above average team across the board, especially in passing yards and rushing yards, points per game defensively. But we struggle against the pass. We struggle to put up points. I mean, we're a true 7th seed, I feel like, one of those teams that kind of sneaks in. You really don't want to play against them. But Bryce Young, in his 2nd-year campaign, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and Young has been developing pretty nicely for us. Hopefully he can get up to superstar development. That would really help him. Rushing, Jonathan Brooks got a good 4 yards per carry, 6 scores, as well as 1,000 yards. Chuba Hubbard added 8 scores on the ground, kind of showing the importance of the backup running backs in this game. This is really my first real action playing here in Madden 25. Deontay Johnson, 1,000 yards and 9 scores. So, do we really want to let go of our only 1,000-yard receiver? That's truly the question. Adam Thielen, 777 catches and 5 scores. Solid year. Xavier Legette, good rookie year. Definitely not going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but this is a good start for Legette. 700 yards, 5 scores. He can catch the football. He can get deep down the field. So Legette, good start. Really want to see him produce and continue to produce. I started Tommy Tremble this year just to see if he can really do anything. And 5 scores, 3 touchdowns, not too bad. And Brooks also added 200 yards on the ground, or in the air. Offensive line-wise, well, he struggled, 10 sacks allowed, but offensive line, not too worried about it at all. Defensively, Shaq Thompson led us in tackles, also had a sack. TFL's Derek Brown led the way with 15. And then sacks, Javion Clowney hit 10, Brown hit 5. So definitely figuring out that other pass rusher. But, you know, Javion Clowney here, he's not getting any younger. He's only going to get worse from here. So finding that next pass rusher, in my opinion, is pretty much very important. Another good note here is that Wallace here had a very good rookie season. He was that other linebacker for us, and he put together a solid campaign, and he's developing pretty nicely for us. Got to get that zone coverage up, but not too worried about that. For interceptions, I see that Jordan Fuller has 5 picks. We did extend him, and no one else. JC Horn got a pick, but I think that a lot of this offseason is going to be focused primarily on the defensive side of the football. Offensively, we were ranked 14th, and I think we also ranked 14th defensively. So we were an above average overall roster. But we now face against the Dallas Cowboys. We're the 7th seed. We'll see how we'll play against this team. Do we move on to the divisional round? And no, we don't. Yeah, I have yet to see a lot of these screens. So losing to the Cowboys doesn't even tell me the score. So we were 0-1 in the postseason. We lost them 45-17. Tough game. You know, Cowboys are a very good team. Prescott threw a couple scores. We had probably a late interception. Ezekiel Elliott decided to become Zeke from 5 years ago. Leggett at least scored. Same with Brooks. So our foundation, at least with our young playmakers, is starting to grow. Very excited here for the first offseason we can get into. We got extended. So let's get to the Pro Bowl roster and let's see if we have any new Pro Bowlers. We'll focus on only the NFC here. I don't see Bryce Young, so not really worried about that. Wow, in this game, there's only 1 fullback that gets in. Maybe they did that last year too. I don't remember. But receivers, there's only 4 now. That's interesting. That's okay. So no receivers, no tight ends. Maybe we could sneak in an offensive lineman? No, we can't. And I don't think anyone else did anything really on defense to warrant anything. So yeah, no Pro Bowlers. Let's get to, well, Jordan Fuller got in. So we got 1 Pro Bowler. Well, one's better than none. So let's go see who wins the Super Bowl. Let's see who the MVP is. And let's continue moving forward. As the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Dallas Cowboys 31-10. Patrick Mahomes is your MVP. Max Crosby is one of the defensive players of the year. I bet they still split it in this game. I'm not checking just yet, because I don't think that we even got any. If we only had one Pro Bowler, excuse me, we probably didn't have anything else. So overall, I guess this game will have Cowboys be in the Super Bowl, but you know, we have to now beat the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. So let's now check out some retirements here. If there's any Panthers retiring, see players like Russell Wilson retire, Bobby Wagner. We have a couple retirements, Troy Hill and Adam Thielen. They both decide to call it a career. We also see Aaron Rodgers retire, and some other players, some very big names. But replacing Adam Thielen is priority, but I, really didn't need to. I don't even want to keep him personally, but that does probably give us some money back. So let's sim to now to the next week here. We still have 22 players to potentially re-sign. We have $56 million. Deontay Johnson, his contract actually went up, so I don't want to do anything with him. Shaq Thompson here, 2 years 18 is a lot better, and I don't want to lose him. This defense needs him, but he's not interested in re-signing. That's tough. The tag would be 13, and that's actually not that bad. That's a interesting decision if we want. Actually, I think we're gonna do this $13 million franchise tag. It keeps us puts us at $42 million for open free agency, where, yeah, I think we're gonna let everyone else test. For our left tackle, Ikwanaku, I'm gonna give him this 5th-year option. He's an 82 overall. We just need to keep the best offensive lineman we can. The reason I'm not gonna keep Austin Colbert is that it's just gonna cost too much, and I want that flexibility with our already limited cap space to be able to make some defensive upgrades. And before we get into free agency, just want to look at the team and see if there's any moves that we could potentially make. You know, Derek Brown's under contract. Don't really want to let go of him. You know, in terms of savings, Taylor Moton here, we could cut and save some money, but I don't really want to do that. Shai Tulit here, this is a pretty significant savings, so I think that even though defensive tackle is in need on this team, Tulit is just, I would rather just save the $5 million to be honest with you guys. So he will be a cut casualty. In terms of anyone else, I'm not really seeing any other significant way. I mean, there's like we could cut these players here, like these 4, and save maybe like a few $1 million, but I'm not going to do that. Might as well keep the depth on the roster. So let's get to open free agency here. Well, actually first, let's look at the roster in its entirety. Let's see if there's any, you know, major development traits here. So Brooks has gotten up to an 85 overall, playing like a true 87. Well, we have our future running back for the next for this series. Leggett has become our true #1 receiver, but receiver is now the glaring need with Adam Thielen retiring, and with for us letting go Johnson, our only 1,000-yard receiver. It's gonna put us in this kind of pickle. For Miles Sanders, this is a contract that I might actually just restructure. Yeah, we're gonna restructure Miles Sanders deal. He's quality depth. I think he would be still a solid #2 running back. But getting receivers, getting a tight end, we definitely need that, and maybe a new center. But defensively, we got to figure out safety. We have to figure out this corner room, and this defensive line room. So we have a lot of work to do, especially on the defensive line. This whole defense just needs to be upgraded. So let's get into open free agency. Let's see who's out there. We have, give or take, $50 million with a couple moves. And Dre Greenlaw here, he's out there in free agency. Justin Simmons, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. So there's some quality players definitely out there. Let's start here on the defense. Let's just look around. So for safety, no one is jumping off the board for me at strong safety. For free safety, Jason Pinnock here would probably be, or Tony Adams, he could be a solid option, but no one there. Corner, Michael Carter, he would be a solid, you know, veteran presence for a few seasons. Greenlaw here, I'm not in. I mean, I would be interested, but I think we need more solid players around the roster than anything. Inside linebacker, no. Yeah, there's not a lot. Maybe Azeez Ojulari, he could be a solid addition. Defensive line wise, not seeing too much. We do need interior, so I might just make a contract offer regardless. Molton Miller or Williams here, he could be a solid bring in. For the offensive line, the only position that I would look at is center. And Ryan Kelly, no one's interested in him. He might be a solid addition. Tight end, we're going to probably have to turn to the draft for this position. And then for receiver, you know, we see that Deontay Johnson is out there. No one's offering him. Elijah Moore's out there. So who do we want the Robin to be for Xavier Legette? That's really the question. Running back, I'm not going to do anything about. And backup quarterback. So let me make some moves. We can sign 5 players. Hopefully we can sign 5 players throughout this whole game. So let me make some moves. Let's see what contracts I can do with $50 million. Let's have some fun. So I got 5 targets here. Deontay Johnson, trying to bring him in here for a 2-year deal. Ryan Kelly, we're also offering a 2-year deal. Michael Carter, we're offering, I believe, a 3-year deal. And then BJ Hill and Cam Sample, 2 solid defensive line depth. Wanted to get a quality corner in this free agency period and a quality veteran defensive tackle. They have the most interest in coming here. Trying to bring back Johnson just to be that solid number 2 receiver. So let's evaluate here. And we're getting some more competition here for Johnson. Same thing here with Ryan Kelly. But we did bring in Michael Carter and BJ Hill. So we got 2 solid veterans to come to this team. Now a true legitimate number 2 corner with a solid defensive tackle here. And Hill that can play, that can rush the quarterback just as much as he can stop the run. So I do like those 2 signings. Though this does kind of put a damper on things with these 3. With Johnson, and we only have $8 million. So with Johnson, this is the reason I'm going to be kind of changing the deal. I don't want to go too much here, but I'm willing to give him this. Man, that still is not enticing enough for him. Are there other receivers out there other than Johnson? Tutu Atwell is available. Same thing with Devontae Peoples-Jones, OBJ. Let's see Tutu. Because Tutu Atwell could be a solid number 2 receiver for a season. I mean, he can get deep down the field. He is kind of on the shorter side. Maybe we go in that direction instead of Johnson. I'm going to withdraw this offer. Yeah, I'm going to go after Tutu and try to make him, you know, a solid number 2 receiver. And that does save us a bit of money. We might be getting a little bit of worse here at wide receiver, but I think Tutu Atwell would be a solid addition. Though, I'm going to make a little bit of a better offer here for Ryan Kelly. It was a 2-year deal that I was offering beforehand. I think it's just important to have 5 good offensive linemen. So I raised the contract. If Green Bay and the Colts want to overpay, they more than can. So let's evaluate again. Now Tutu's getting competition. We did get Ryan Kelly, which is surprising. So we now have a new center, but receiver is becoming more and more of a question mark for us. If we don't, I'm going to throw out a 1-year deal here to Devontae Peoples-Jones, just in case. Just in case. He's young enough. So let's evaluate one more time. Tutu signed somewhere else, and we'll see if these guys will sign in the future. But Drake Greenlaw, he's going to the LA Rams. The Commanders signed Justin Simmons and Amari Cooper. Keenan Allen going to the New York Giants. And the Packers signed Johnson and Gilmore. So there's a good amount of movement across the league. Didn't see, and the Bears got Tutu. So let's to the next week here. Let's see if there's what we should do, if there's any sort of trades or anything. Well, this is the state of the team currently. It looks like we did sign Devontae Peoples-Jones, so we do have our 3 receivers in Jones, Marshall, and Xavier Worthy, but still got to figure out the tight end group. We have our 5 offensive linemen. Defensively, we brought in both Hill, Carter, and I think that's it. But yeah, I think finding a safety, maybe another pass rusher could help. But I do like the decision to bring in Michael Carter. Carter will be a solid number 2 corner for the next few seasons for us. So let's get to the draft. Let's have some fun here. I don't know if I'm going to make any significant trades. I don't even think I'm going to trade up in this draft. So let's go. Let's make some draft picks. I have yet to even see the draft class, so we're going to have some fun here. Well, we've made it to the NFL draft, and it looks like there's a whole new presentation, which this is very cool in my opinion. We pick at 20. I am not going to... I kind of want to get through this. I'm kind of taking my time. I should go pretty... I got to pick up the pace here. It's already been 40 minutes, and we've not even gotten through the first year. So I'm going to start simming and going a little bit faster for you guys. So let's get to our selection. And you guys get to see the big board here. We see some pass rushers and everything. Let's make a selection here. First of all, you know, this is the first time I'm seeing all of this type of information. So this is going to be fun, and it's going to be a learning curve for me because clearly they have changed a lot of things, and it's very cool. But I just want to quickly look at the roster. So right here, right now, with the 20th pick, you could argue going after... Who the heck is this guy? Did the CPU sign him? Or maybe... No, I don't think so. But I do think receivers at play here. You could argue tight end as well. But I'm leaning towards something across the defensive line. Maybe a corner. So let me go see. Let's see what we have here on the board, and let's have some fun. Well, with my first selection, I guess, in recorded history here in Madden 25, Brian Charles, pass rusher. He's more of a run stopper, so I think he can play on either the interior or the outside, but Brian will be the selection here. And it looks like he has hidden development, but I just got an achievement. This is the first time I'm seeing that this screen even exists. This is pretty cool. I definitely like it. I do have probably a lot of the sounds off, but this is a very cool presentation that Matt had decided to add in. And Brian Charles is the rank 35 true value. Drafted him at 20, so this is a B- move. So he has a high football IQ, and I think that they're trying to go with personalities as more of an importance. He's definitely more of an interior defensive lineman than anything, but Brian and Brown, they're going to be 2 excellent playmakers together. Okay, so I know I said I was going to speed things up, and I'm definitely slowing things down. Let's continue on. Well, here in the second round, we do need a safety. Charles Collins here will be the selection, and Collins will be the pick. It looks like he was ranked 31st. We got him at 52. Another hidden dev player, 89 speed. He's a solid athlete across the board, so I do like this selection for us. Let's get to the third round. Well, we've helped out the defense, but Marcus McDonald here will be the selection tight end. As we get another, he was ranked 39th, got him 50, another hidden dev player. So 3 hidden development players really helping out the team. We're gonna go with Dexter Tate here in the third round. A-zone coverage, I'm intrigued. And we got him right around his true value. He also has hidden development. Does everyone have hidden dev? I have no idea. But we've made 4 picks, all 4 of them hidden development. we're now into the 4th round, and this is actually a time that, no, actually, we're gonna continue pushing forward here. I did really like this corner, Devon Beckman, and I'm actually kind of happy that he fell to us here in the 4th round. We're gonna select Beckham here, getting a solid corner. Normal dev, but I think he can develop. A little bit of a draft recap here. So Brian Charles here, hidden dev, and I think right away we're just gonna move him into defensive tackle for us. I think he is just a better overall fit there. That does bump him up a couple overalls. Then Charles Collins here, also hidden dev, safety, very good. Good hit power as well. I like that. Hopefully he can jar some fumbles or something. Then Marcus McDongle here, tight end. He's a true legitimate vertical threat. He's not going to block well at all, but we got our quarterback now in Young, a solid young tight end here. Then Dexter here, Dexter Tate. He's a good cover linebacker. I'm happy about this decision. It gives us 2 young inside linebackers for the next few seasons. And then a couple high 80 overalls or 60 overalls, and then Dennis here, 63. And actually, these aren't terrible ratings for a backup quarterback, so I think we're just gonna keep him. But let's get into the next preseason. I'm gonna show you guys if I make any sort of signings in terms of like with any other free agent moves. But let's get into year 2. We need a punter and kicker, so Will Lutz here. He will be our new kicker for this up and coming season. And the punter will be Brian Anger. Just a solid punter and kicker, good specialist for us. Bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. just for the mentorship. We have a lot of young receivers, and Beckham will be an excellent 4th guy on the team. And because of the fact that we drafted a safety, we're gonna bring in Jordan Poyer also for the mentorship tag. I think he'll be a solid, just depth player, good special teamer. Well, as year 2 is about to start, this will be the opening day roster for year number 2. So Bryce Young, 80 overall. There's a lot more pressure on him. Entering into year number 3, I feel like he is a true established quarterback now. It's time for him to take the next necessary steps. His accuracies are all in a solid spot, except for really deep, but that will never really be a strength, I think, for Bryce Young. But we really did not help him out a lot at the receiver position. We're gonna go with Jonathan Mingo here. Christmas is gonna get some opportunities as that 4th receiver on the roster. He has that excellent speed and playmaking type of element, but a lot of the pressures right now on the 3 young guys: Xavier Legette, Jordan Brooks, and Marcus McDongle here. And this young tight end, he's gonna have to really prove very quickly that he is deserving to be the guy. We helped out Young by bringing in Ryan Kelly, completing again this offensive line, which is very solid for us. And then defensively, Charles, our 1st round selection, is gonna get a lot of playing time. Same with Collins here. We brought in BJ Hill and Michael Carter. We also drafted Tate here. So we brought in a lot of good players for the defense, bringing in a number 2 corner, 2 starting defensive linemen, and a safety, and potentially a future linebacker. So overall, I do think that this defense is starting to slowly come together, which is really what you want to see. Though I do think that this defense still needs a hell of a lot of work. A lot of these pieces on this team, a lot of the players we're relying on right now, like Javion Clowney and Thompson here, are veterans. Robinson here and Hill, even though we just brought in Hill, these are 2 veterans that I would rather have a good, young, talented player. We do need new edge rushers, so that might be something for year 2's offseason that we do. So let's get to the mid-season report, or let's get to the mid-season and see what we can do. Well, halfway here through year 2, we're 2-5. A little worse at the halfway point from last season. And across the board, our defense is the thing that's holding us back. Offensively, we're also not putting up that many points. We truly don't have a true number one receiver, which could definitely be an issue. Leggett is kind of having to play that role this season. Before we look at contracts, let's look at a quick stat update. Why are we struggling so much? So Bryce Young, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's not good. We're struggling to run the football. Miles Sanders I feel like he's a little bit more productive with those 5 scores over Brooks. Hopefully in the second half of the season, we can start to see some players step up here. Devontae Peoples-Jones, he's leading the way for us. Xavier Leggett, the guy that I really want to be the guy, he's not doing well, but Marcus here, he's showing up. 3 scores so far. Getting too many other players involved. Offensive line-wise, Moulton is struggling this year, but the interior is playing extremely well. Linebacking, overall, or defensively, Derek Brown leads us the way with Clowney and Brian Charles only have a half sack. That's a little bit of a disappointment. 1 interception. Yeah, the defense is what's killing us right now. And I see that J.C. Horn needs a new deal. So we have a lot of decisions to make here. We have $101 million. J.C. Horn, this is a no-brainer. He's our number 1 corner. He's our second best defender. J.C. Horn, 5-year extension, that goes through. Taylor Moton, I'm willing to pay him because there's probably not that much other players that I want to keep. Devontae Peoples-Jones, he really needs to have like a 1,500-yard type of season for me to even consider keeping him. He's kind of more just a Band-Aid at this moment in time. Shaq Thompson, I'm going to do the same thing as I did last year. For DJ Woodham here, not going to bring him back. Javion Clowney, this is an interesting one because this would be just another Band-Aid for the team. So definitely keep that in mind with him. For everyone else here, it's really only Moulton that I have to make a decision on. It's hard to find tackles. It's very hard to find tackles in my opinion. So how about a 2-year, $42 million? And he kind of wants me to improve more of what he wants in terms of motivation. So throwing more money at him won't really benefit anything. And we don't have a franchise quarterback, so, and we're not a big market in his eyes. So I don't know how to really change. I can't change that in his eyes. So, for right now, we're gonna kind of stay pat here. We still have, even if he doesn't sign that deal, we have $90 million. So let's get to the postseason. Let's see where we're at. Hopefully we can make it back to the postseason. It's not one of those rebuilds where we make it in year 1 and then for the rest of the way we just lose. Well, definitely unfortunate here in year 2. Kind of take a step back. We go to 7-10. We missed the postseason. We were the 12th team in the conference, so we were one of the bottom teams. How the heck did we get to this point? So Bryce Young in the second half of the season did put it kind of more together, but not the year 3 that we were all hoping for. It's a true 83 overall. Somehow, some way, we need him to develop a little bit more. Rushing rise, Jordan Brooks really picked it up with 10 scores, 1,200 yards. Miles Sanders added 300 yards on the ground and 10 scores. So 2 20 touchdown running backs that struggled at the beginning of the season. We're definitely a second half type of football team, so keep that in mind. Xavier Leggett, just 41 yards shy of 1,000, but our 2 young players, the building blocks, they're coming together with both Jonathan Mingo and Devontae Peoples-Jones showing that they will just put up 700 yards. That's very nice for us. It's good to know with Mingo especially because there is a true legitimate chance he will be our number 3 receiver again. So happy about at least seeing those type of numbers. Brooks also added 200 more yards on the ground and 3 more scores. We also got a couple of the younger guys a little bit more involved, but very happy with these 2 young guys making plays for us. Offensive line-wise, interior, again, played very well. But, you know, overall-wise, offensive line continues to produce. We have a good O-line. Shaq Thompson led us in tackles, but that's not really that impressive. Brian Charles led us in TFLs, our rookie defender, and a couple other guys with a good amount of TFLs. Derek Brown here had 8 sacks, Javion Clowney with 7. Dexter Tate here, who is more of a cover linebacker. I decided to play him more on the defensive line just to play him. And these 2 rookies each combined for 5.5 sacks, 18 TFLs, over 60 tackles, close to actually 70 tackles. So that's good between 2 young rookies for us. And then interceptions, Jordan Fuller led us with 2. Michael Carter got a pick. Did not see Collins get anything. He had a very quiet rookie year. He is up to a 79 overall. Yeah, he's quietly moving up, in my opinion. So overall, year 2 is kind of a forgotten season, potentially. I do kind of want to look at this. I should have just looked at it in year 1. But we got the offensive rookie of the year in Marcus McDonald here, as well as the defensive player of the year. Brian Charles got 10th. I don't think that we're going to see any other Panthers. Maybe we could. We didn't. So I don't know what just got unplugged. But sometimes that happens. Little technical difficulties on my end. So either way, let's get to the Pro Bowl and see if we have any Pro Bowlers. Any Pro Bowlers this season? No one at quarterback, no one at running back, not a fullback, no one at wide receiver, not even a tight end. That's disappointing. We might have an offensive lineman. We don't. I don't think we're gonna have a defensive lineman either, I guess. That kind of sucks. Yeah, I'm not seeing really anyone, and that's kind of making me think that we're not gonna have anyone. So no Pro Bowlers this year. We got one last year, but we missed the postseason. Let's go see who wins the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl champions are the Baltimore Ravens, beating the Niners. Another kind of rematch of a few years ago. Lamar Jackson's the MVP. It's kind of nice to see the quarterbacks win it. Burrow won it last year, and now Jackson won it. So we've yet to see Patrick Mahomes, and we have yet to see the Dallas Cowboys win a championship. So that's good across the board. So let's sim now to the next week. We have a lot of work to do. Currently have $90 million. We have a 5th-year option to consider here with Bryce Young. Moulton is needing a new deal. Devontae Peoples-Jones, I don't think it's worth keeping him. Same with DJ here. Shaq Thompson here. Only for his longevity is the reason I'm offering him a 1-year deal. And he is back. He signs that 1 year, $6 million. Clowney, this is a tough one just because he has been productive for us. And for everyone else, yeah. So it's really, I mean, I'm going to give him this 1-year offer. If he signs, he doesn't, that's okay. So for Taylor Moton here, I would like to keep him. I will bump it up just a little bit, 42. He is denying us. The tag would be $30 million. Oh, man. That's a tough pill to swallow. But it's tough to replace a top 5 tackle. We're going to give him that. We're going to accept this 5th-year option here for Bryce Young. I know $44 million is a lot, but I don't want to think about rookie quarterback just yet while we still have Young on the roster. And looking at the state of the team right now, we do see McDonald here. I believe he's actually gotten up to superstar. he got this. So he came down as a star dev. He's now the 16th best tight end in the league. So we have our young tight end. We have our young running back. We have our young receiver. We have a quality offensive line. I think adding a legitimate number one receiver will solidify the offense in its entirety. Defensively, this is kind of where things kind of get interesting here, because we do need to figure out this linebacking room. We have to figure out right now the edge rushing position, because these four guys are defensive tackles in my eyes. Gotta find a third corner potentially. I think Tate and Wallace can be the two linebackers. Johnson here can be the third cover linebacker, or the third linebacker on the roster. Charles and Brown on the interior. Gotta find two edge rushers. So those are really our three big needs. I don't know how much money we even have. 54. Joe Tooney here is out there. Greg Newsome, number 2 corner. Zach Tom here. So some quality players here. See, Romeo Doubs is out there at receiver. So let's look at the receiver. So we have Romeo Doubs, the best receiver out there. Mike Evans, Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton, Wandale Robinson. Honestly, I think it's really Romeo Doubs or no one. And I already see that we have a one target, and we're not targeting anyone. Oh my god, this game's gonna kill me. Okay. Side fucking thing. Romeo Doubs, will give him this 3-year deal. We desperately need at least a number 2 receiver, and Doubs can be that for us. So, trying to top the Saints. Now let's look at this edge rushing position. So, Zadarius Smith here would be kind of a band-aid. Drake Jackson here, 25 years old, 76 overall. Actually, I do like this move to go after Drake here. 2-year deal, not committing long-term with him. I do like that decision. On the other side, Durson Armstrong, he could be a solid band-aid for a season. Could go back after Clowney. Quincy Williams is out there. Who's the other guy that I was thinking about? Xavier or Zadarius Smith? You know what? Let's try to bring back Clowney. We know he doesn't want a lot of money, and we know he could be productive. So, in terms of punter and kicker, I'll figure that out later. So these will be the 3 players we're targeting here in this free agency period. Doubs is getting a lot of more interest. We did bring in Drake Jackson, so we helped out our edge rushing position. We have one solidified. Clowney is kind of becoming a secondary, but Romeo Doubs, we really just can't let him go anywhere. We need him. We need you. So 3 years, almost $50 million. Doesn't put us at number 1, and I decided to exit out. So you know what? I'm going to sim to the next week. If we have Doubs, great. If not, fuck me, I guess. I did not want to click on that. So, no idea if we even got Doubs. Let's see. I sim to the next week. Romeo Doubs, where are you? And he signed somewhere else. Doubs signed with the Broncos. Same with Christian Watson. So, wide receiver. Cortland Sutton for a season. Wandale Robinson, Mike Evans. Let's go after Wandale. Let's bring him in for 2 seasons. He would be a solid number 2 receiver for a couple years. Let's get to the draft. Looking at the state of the roster, couldn't bring in the number 1 receiver, but we brought in Wandale Robinson. For 2 years, he'll be a solid number 2 wideout. He's a good player. Not upset about that at all, but it's going to be tough. Receiver is still a need, in my opinion. Defensively, we brought in Jackson. We could not get, it looks like, Clowney. So edge rusher is still a position of need. Corner is as well, even linebacker. So we have the 8th overall pick. Let's see what we can do here. And we're gonna take the first receiver, Caleb Tyson here, playmaker. We're gonna get another wide receiver to help out Bryce Young, and hopefully having now 4 young guys can really help us. Tyson, I hope, as a playmaker, can make some plays deep down the field. Him and Leggett should be good. We might have reached here. He has normal dev, but he's gonna play right away. Here in the second round, Marcus Hardinson, edge rusher. I need to find a pass rusher on the opposite side of Drake Jackson, and normal dev. This might be another reach selection. This might be the worst year 2, might be the worst season so far, but I'm hoping that he can provide something for us. Let's get to the 3rd round. Not done drafting receivers. Ty Leak here, slot receiver. He'll be the guy. So we're gonna draft the first 3 rounds, 2 receivers and a defensive lineman. A little bit higher up, true value wise, 90 speed, normal dev. We can't get a hidden dev to save our life. At Chansey here, corner. We need a corner 3. So near the 4th round, he'll be the guy. Another normal dev. So I'm not drafting any hidden devs. I'm done drafting in this class. Trying to speed things up a little bit for you guys. So not a terrible class, as we had 7 picks, all at the 8th spot. Caleb Tyson here, normal dev, 74 overall. He's gonna be our number 2 guy. Him, Wandale, and Xavier will be the 3 guys. We drafted Marcus here. Day 1, he is gonna start, he is gonna play, and he's gonna need to play well. Kawhi Leak here. Hey, another good receiver, maybe the future number 3 guy on the roster. So we might have ended this class with our filling out all of our playmakers. And then Pat here, hey, he comes in as a slot receiver or slot corner. We need a slot corner, so I'm happy with that. And the CPU drafted us 3 players and a guard, outside linebacker, and another corner. So double up at corner, double up at receiver. Let's get to year number 3, as this will be the roster here for year number 3. After his first year, we made it to the playoffs, where we were 1 and done. Last year was kind of a forgotten season. We kind of have to forget about that here. We did bring in a new number 2 wide receiver, Caleb Tyson here. He can do a lot of things underneath. Just gonna kind of work on his deep route running, but between him and Leggett, I think we kind of have our 2 guys. We brought in Wandale Robinson. We've drafted another receiver, but we have our big 3 in McDongle, Leggett, and Brooks. With a quality offensive line, we're kind of set here for Bryce Young. This offense is probably almost as good as it's gonna get. Defensively, though, there was a lot more changes. We brought in Drake Jackson. We drafted a pass rusher here in Harris. We're kind of moving forward here with the young linebackers. We drafted Pat Chansey here, and we're a young team here defensively. These are the specialists, Harris and Jackson. Charles will be playing a lot. You know, a lot of the picks that I've selected, I'm hoping that these guys can produce here. So let's get to the midway point. Let's go see if we can have at least a better start than like a 3 and 4. So let's try to get like 4 and 4 maybe. Well, we're 1 and 6. So that's something. Let's do some upgrades. Man, that's a tough pill to swallow, because, you know, I feel like we're a good team. We have good players, but Bryce Young, he is struggling. 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Our running game is there. Our passing game, we have our young players. Our 3 young guys are producing. Wandale's supporting. they're all similar numbers. This is not what you want to see, as we're kind of regressing. And we have a lot of decisions to make, I know, on this roster. Brian Charles leads us in sacks. Same with Dexter. He's playing good football. I mean, we got some decisions to do. And I don't know if this is a good time to make some type of trade. I really don't think getting another first-round pick will really help us. I mean, let's see who's out here in needing a new deal. Ikwanaku here, I do want to extend him. Jonathan Mingo, probably not. Taylor Moton, this is a spot that you could say it's time to move on. Ryan Kelly, you could even argue as well. Trading away 2 good offensive linemen to really shore up the future draft capital. Maybe that's something that we do. Though, I do want to keep Ikwanaku here. I want to extend him. And regardless, he's not leaving this building. So, and he likes the starting offer, but again, same thing that Moton gave us. I'm willing to tag him, but let's trade away both Moton and Kelly. Let's try to get a first-round pick. Maybe that's something that we're lacking. And instead of getting a first-round pick, we're going to get a second and a future fourth for both Taylor Moton and Ryan Kelly. I think it's a fair deal. These guys are older offensive linemen. Send them to Seattle. And yeah, year 3 is kind of a wash for us. Well, again, we are 7-10. We're in the same spot that we were last year. So, which you could argue that, you know, we're still developing these players. Bryce Young, 18 touchdowns, 14 picks. I mean, we picked up his 5th-year option, but next year is his year. He has to show it. Jonathan Brooks, 14 scores, 1,100 yards, produced again. Caleb Tyson led us in receiving yards as a rookie, and 3 scores. McDonald here, 5 scores. Leggett has not been the #1 receiver that I've hoped he can become, but you know what? Our 3 young playmakers played very well, and that's all you can ask for. Ikwanaku here, he struggled. That's unfortunate. Travis Wallace here led us in tackles. For TFLs, it was Derek Brown, Brian Charles right behind him, actually tied. And the interior of our defense is leading the way with Drake Jackson and Dexter providing some rush. Kind of had a multitude of a third guy. So that's kind of a promise here. So this is kind of a developed season. Let's go with that. We are regressing as a team. We got a lot to figure out here. I don't think that we're going to have any Panthers. We have the best offensive lineman here in Robert Hunt. But other than that, I think we can simp now to the next week and get to the Pro Bowl. Looking at the Pro Bowl here, well, first of all, this is interesting. McCarthy, Williams, and Daniels, all from this past NFL draft. We don't have a running back, which is so surprising. Receiver-wise, no one. McDonald here, he got it as the #2. That's very nice to see. Robert Hunt didn't even make it as one of the better guards. And I don't think that there's going to be anyone else. I don't even see Derek Brown. So, unfortunate there. But J.C. Horn got in, so we had 2 Pro Bowlers. So far, we've had 3 Pro Bowlers in total on this series. So, again, no postseason. Let's get to the offseason. See if there's any sort of changes that we can make. It's going to be tough now because Bryce Young is on his 5th-year deal. And the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl over the New York Jets, 15-13, a low-scoring affair. Michael Parsons is your MVP. So the Cowboys have won it. We get to see the Chiefs in it, which is kind of surprising. In terms of retirement, I see Josie Jewell retired. I don't think that we're going to have anyone else. We're a very young roster. That's one thing that we've been able to kind of quickly turn around as this team. But now with $135 million, Ikwanaku needs a new deal. And that is it for this roster. Everyone else I'm willing to let go, even Shaq Thompson here. We need to kind of go into this free agency period thinking that Bryce Young is not the guy and kind of establishing a roster so then we can potentially make a trade or two to try to get our quarterback of the future. So Ikwanku does resign that 3-year extension. And for Leggett, I am going to give him this 5th-year option. So he'll play all 5 years for us. Current state of the roster. So right now, kind of need some offensive line help, definitely. We traded away 2 starters in season. Receiver, if we can get upgrade over Watt Robinson, I should. Maybe we start Leak over him, just regardless. But we have our 4 guys, in my opinion. Then defensively, you know, maybe adding a corner, defensive line, defensive tackle especially. You could argue an edge rusher. Linebacker potentially as well. Maybe even safety. So we kind of need a little bit of everything. But I kind of want this free agency period to be kind of signing some big name players. So Rodney Stanley, that's a big name. Aline McNeil, that could be an interesting kind of go-get. But we kind of already have 2 interior defensive linemen. So do I really want to go in that direction? Let's see. Really wish I could make 5 offers, but we're going to go after these 4 veterans. Devontae Adams, Drew Donwell, Ryan Ramczyk, and Matt McLone. 4 impact starters across, especially on the offensive side of the football. Hoping that these all guys just sign. Devontae Adams getting some interest elsewhere. Same thing here with Drew. But we got Ryan Ramczyk and Matt McLone. I'm not looking to adjust Devontae Adams' contract. I am more than willing to go into this up-and-coming season not making a big splash here in free agency. This is not a great free agent class. So let's get to the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the state of the roster after free agency, still need to find a center. But Ramczyk is a good band-aid for the offensive line. You could anything on defense. We got Malone here at linebacker. We just kind of need some impact starters, and we have 2 second-round picks in this up-and-coming class. So, and we have, as we have this cutscene here, we have the 7th pick this year. And we need a pass rusher, and John Sanchez here, I think he can be the guy. Let's draft him. We're going to get ourselves a big-time edge rusher. And reached. Damn. Okay, you know what? Ever since the first class, you know, I was feeling high and mighty. We've kind of sucked, to say the least. I really don't know how good Michael Carter can be. So Virgil Allen here, B's across the board in the 2nd round. I think that this should be just a very good pick for us. Normal dev, he's athletic. Potentially our future number 2 corner. We have another 2nd-round pick here. We need to kind of focus up on these offensive linemen that are starting to get older. We're paying a lot of them. Jack Davis here, he'll be the pick. B+ decision, hidden dev offensive lineman. He might start from day 1. He might be our new center. Taking a chance here on Danny Starks here in the 3rd round. I think he can be a solid depth piece. And maybe even that, he's not. So, you know what? That's enough for me drafting because I'm terrible at it. Let's get to the end of it. Well, we definitely missed out here in the set with the 7th overall pick. John Sanchez here. He has the chance to develop, but with 2 years still to go, I don't really know if he can become the edge rusher of the future that we desperately kind of need. So definitely reached there. We had 2 second-round picks where we kind of made it up for it. Virgil Allen here. definitely will be a solid number 2 corner. He has the ratings, he has the starting potential. So Michael Carter kind of becomes obsolete, and then Jake Davis here, I'm actually going to move him to center for us. Hidden dev, so I think he's the only hidden dev guy we got in this class. I let the CPU kind of handle the rest, but I do think that he can become our future, and then the CPU drafted a couple other guys for depth purposes. And Danny Starks was our last pick. Not a good selection. It is very much of a reach. He would be interesting to user, but let's get to year 4. We have 2 more seasons to get through. We have actually only 1 more off season to do, so this is going to be interesting. Well, this is the roster here for year 4. Much more the same. Still have our big 3 in terms of offensive weapons. Ryan Ramczyk to kind of be the band-aid for tackle. Drafted Davis to be the new center. Looks like the CPU drafted Will Cunningham here. And Will has hidden development. And he's the same overall as the quarterback that we drafted 3 years ago. So, Bryce Young, it's time to make it or get the heck out of the way. That's it. That's all I gotta sit here and say about Bryce Young right now. So he has the pieces, he's had the pieces, and the defense now, in my opinion, looks a lot better. We have Sanchez, we have Tate, we have some quality players. Sure, the interior could be a question mark, but I don't care. I think that this team is good. Did we really improve significantly in these last few seasons? Not really. But I do think that it's time for Bryce Young to take the next necessary step. It's time to prove it here. Let's see what happens here at midway point of year 4. We're 2-5. We're 2-5. Halfway through the season. And it's not looking good for this roster. My goodness. Do some auto upgrades for this roster. Yeah, I don't know. We have $145 million. Jonathan Brooks I want to keep. I'm not giving this contract here to Bryce Young. There is definitely no possibility. I mean, man. So we have Jonathan Brooks that I want to keep. We have Tevin Wallace here that I want to keep. We have some band-aids that I have brought in that clearly are not working for some fucking reason. So let's do a stat update and see if I'm going to make any big decisions on Bryce Young. 10 touchdowns, 5 picks. Jonathan Brooks is playing okay. He will pick it up, hopefully. Is Xavier Legette? Just someone here needs to break the 1,000-yard mark. We've only had one 1,000-yard receiver, and that was year 1 of the series. This rebuild. Offensive line is playing good again. Defensively, getting pressure. Marcus here, providing as a pass rusher. This is going to be interesting because you can kind of think about it like this. This is going to be the last off season, and do I really want to franchise tag Bryce Young? I don't want to give him this contract. But the contract would be technically cheaper than the tag. So this is so hard. Okay. Let's do some easy decisions. Jonathan Brooks here. I'm going to give him this deal. Absolutely. I can't let him go anywhere. Got another award, re-signing a 90 plus. So you guys are seeing that I'm getting some rewards here. Told you guys I have yet to really play this game. Wallace here. Also re-signed. So we get our 2 young, established players. I think that man. You know, players like Drake Jackson, Michael Carter, Wandale Robinson, and even Jordan Fuller. These are 3 guys that we could look to trade. Because these are 3 guys that I'm not looking to bring back. So maybe we make that move. Maybe we do that. Maybe we try to get... If I could get another first round selection without trading Bryce Young, then we're okay. So we will be getting the first round pick from the Cleveland Browns, trading away Carter, Jackson, Robinson, and next year's first round pick. So we're going into next year with 2 first round picks for the last offseason. And with that being said, not going to be trading away Bryce Young right now. We're going to go through this season. Let's get to the postseason. The reason I did that is we're either going to tag Young and trade him, or we're going to tag Young and start him. One or the other. We went 6-11 this year. So regressing even further now. And that is unfortunate. 3 straight years with no playoffs after year 1. And this is Bryce Young. This is just Bryce Young. An average quarterback, okay stats. And you can sit here and say we should have brought in a number 1 receiver. We have a legitimate starting running back here. We have Leggett. We have Leak here who produced. We have McDonald. We have Tyson. We have players. He's just not getting the job done. So the question really kind of goes to, do I decide to tag and trade him? Or do I decide to tag him and start him? That's really the question. Defense played well. Happy to see Harris playing good. Again, Charles producing for us. Good TFLs. Couple picks. Let's get to see who won the Super Bowl. Well, here's the Pro Bowl roster for year 4. McCarthy, Prescott, Hurts. I don't think we're going to see anyone of ours. And I'm not seeing anyone. Yeah, year 4. In the last few seasons now, I guess I have not put together a good enough roster to even get any sort of Pro Bowlers. This is another season where we don't have any. Another season where we don't even make the postseason. So let's see who wins the Super Bowl. Let's go see who wins it this year. Your Super Bowl champs are the Detroit Lions, beating the Baltimore Ravens 38-14. Corner Trayvon Arnold here. He won it. I guess it's one of those generated players. So we're entering into now the last offseason. We got one more offseason to put together a roster, a team that can get us back to the postseason. And of course, the big elephant in the room is, what do we do with Bryce Young? Now, his contract demand did go down. It was now a 4-year, 100 and... actually, it went up. It went up yearly. It's just less years now, it looks like. So, what do we do with Bryce Young? Of course, Brian Charles here. Definitely picking this up. Brian was an excellent drafted player. And it's actually nice. It looks like... yeah, it looks like regardless of just... Because I've done all auto upgrading, it looks like across the board, every rating kind of improves regardless of it. So that might be a change that they've made. But, you know, he's been a solid player for us over the last 3 years. The lowest, his best year was the second season, but he's coming off another good year. But we have a decision here to make with Bryce Young. Not keeping you. Jordan Fuller, he's served his time here. Damian Lewis, this is a tough one because I don't want to go into the offseason having to replace a guard. So then he denies that option. Ryan Ramczyk, it's the same type of ordeal. Do I really want to go into an offseason focused on 2 offensive linemen and special teams? Probably not. I think for Bryce Young, if he takes this, okay, it's fine. And he denies that. So the franchise tag is $60 million. We're gonna go find ourselves a new quarterback here for year 5. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I can't do that to this team. We gotta give ourselves the best chance to make the postseason. I don't think Bryce Young can do that. So by us letting Young test, it puts us now in a position where we have to figure out quarterback. You know, I think we have our 2 receivers. I think we have our starting tight end. We have our back. Whoever the heck this guy is, he's developed nicely over the last few seasons. So we don't have to like go all out, but quarterback is a big need. Offensive line is a need. You could even argue receiver. Defensively, well, we have Derek Brown. Okay, I thought he left for some reason. Yeah, we gotta really kind of hit safety, maybe. If that's a spot that we can improve on. Corner, definitely as well. We have a lot of holes on this team. Let's see what we can do in open free agency. Because ultimately, we have over $132 million. We should be able to make some signings. Cooper, the need here, he's out there. Jeffrey Simmons, J.J. McCarthy. So there's quarterbacks. There's at least 2. And Michael Penix here is out there as well. Mac Jones, Dak Prescott. And interest across the board. But Michael Penix here, you know, 28 years old, normal development. Has he gotten an opportunity in this league with the Falcons? He has played, and he's played well. Let's give him a chance. Why not? It is not a lot of money, and I think that this move makes a lot of sense for the state of the roster, and it's the last year. I don't really want to trade up for a rookie quarterback, so Michael Penix will definitely be a move. Let me go see if there's any other decisions that I want to make. They got 4 targets out here. Cooper, absolutely got to try to get a big-time corner to come to this team. Darnell Wright, a big-time tackle. Of course, Penix that you saw. And bring back Damian Lewis. Evaluate. And we got Wright and we got Penix. But we did not get Cooper. He's going to the Titans. And Jeffrey Simmons is gone. Pat Fertain here, he's gone as well. So we've boosted up the offensive line and got our quarterback for the season, but we still have plenty of money. Bryce Young is still out there. Let me see. I want to spend this money, so gonna try to continue adding talent to the roster. Make a couple of offers here to some defenders. Jamal Adams, Denzel Ward, Christian Wilkins. See if we can get these few players. So we got Wilkins to come over. Denzel Ward is in. Still trying to figure out between Damian Lewis and Jamal Adams. And there's still, you know, Mason Smith is still out there. There's still some talent here. We still have a boatload of money. I'm going to continue trying to bring in free agents in this last period. Trying to get Hassan Reddick as well, and same with Christian McCaffrey. Just some quality veterans here. And we got McCaffrey and Adams. We're still waiting on Lewis, and I don't know if we got... I don't even remember the other player we're trying to get. I don't think we got him either. Still a boatload of money. And I think the remaining cap space, I'm going to try to get 2 specialists. These will be the last bit of offers I make. I'm going to go after Logan Wilson, KJ Scott, and Justin Tucker. Oh, we can't even evaluate. Okay, let's sim to the draft. Let's have some fun. Got one more draft to get through. See what we can do. It looks like we're not able to get Damian Lewis to come back, so we could target guard at some point. We got a quarterback. We could draft a quarterback if we really wanted to, but we have 2 first-round picks. Yet to see this draft class, so this is gonna be interesting. We can go in a lot of different directions. We could go safety. That is a spot that we could immediately kind of upgrade and get some position value. Corner could be another spot. It looks like we have the 6th and the 8th overall selection. So let's make some home run picks. Let's first look at the board though, because, you know, in terms of just quarterbacks, there's 1 first round, and that's Theo Marshall here, strong arm type of quarterback. I guess if he falls to us, I could decide to take him, but as you guys can see, there's no one favorited on my board. I kind of go in these things pretty blindly, so we're gonna kind of sim to our pick and make a selection. Yeah, let's take Larry Henry here, a corner. Just try to add some talent to this secondary. So, an A+ pick, they say. Didn't hit him at exactly his true value, but we finally drafted a hidden dev. It feels like since year 1, I have not drafted particularly well. And then we have another first round pick, pretty close together. This might be a little high, but we're gonna take Matthew McClellan here, strong safety. We needed a safety, so we help out the secondary, and he is ranked number 1 in the class? Oh my. Oh wow. I guess we got 2 top tier talents. And I'm gonna make 1 more selection just because we did 2 first round picks and see if we can add any other talent, and I'm gonna let this CPU just draft for me. And let's get Carlos Anger here. Guard, might as well help out our quarterback, our new quarterback in Penix. A little bit of a reach here with Carlos, but hidden dev, not gonna be too upset about that. So let's sim to the end and let's see how good I did. Hopefully these 3 impactful rookies can really help us. And I think they will. I mean, Larry Henry here, 78 overall. Day 1, he can definitely start, and he probably will. But we also drafted, a couple picks later, Matthew here, who is 83 overall. Definitely day 1 starting caliber. And now we have solidified our secondary entirely. Have a good offensive lineman, a solid tight end too now, a backup running back. So the CPU even helped us out by getting in some good players. So let's get us to year 5. 1 more simulation to go through. Well, this will be the roster for year 5, the final full season that we're gonna go through. We brought in Michael Penix Jr., who's been starting actually for the Falcons. Who started for the Falcons. He's now here. He's replacing Bryce Young, who only got us to 1 playoff appearance, lost it. And Penix is coming in here. He has a true, legitimate number 1 receiver here. I feel like an Xavier Legette. Do a little bit of everything pretty well. You also have a top tier running back here in Jonathan Brooks, 25 years old, 95 overall, top 5 running back in the league, as well as, and I've pointed this out a lot, is Marcus McDonald here, 90 overall, top 10 tight end in the league, can get down the field, excellent hands, excellent speed. The offensive line is very good. We brought in Darnell Wright. Anger is also here. And then defensively, we have very much shored up this defensive line over the years, bringing in an excellent, a prefla amount of corners we've been able to develop. And now we have a rookie safety starting. This should be a good season. I'm very excited to see what this team can do. I want to make sure that Brian Charles here as the captain's patch. I should have done this from the beginning, but he's a top 10 defensive tackle. He was the first pick in this class. So very excited. Let's go through year 5. I'm not gonna stop at the mid-season point. We're simming right to the postseason. So guys, please leave a like, comment down below any sort of suggestions that you have. This typically the first video when I do a series like this is the first few videos are much longer. You start with the Bears, the first year of going through each off season was the longest out of all of them. Then they went from an hour to 30 minutes. So the length of the videos should hopefully calm down. If there's any suggestions that you guys have, please let me know. And of course, if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. I am planning on doing all 32 teams as we go 6 and 11. Well, that is, one way to end this series. Again, no playoffs. This became the series where we had a great start, and then from there we did absolutely nothing with every opportunity that we had. It is definitely unfortunate, to say the least. Michael Penix did not have a good season. I don't know if it's the scheme. I have no idea. I have yet to even test that stuff out. But Jonathan Brooks here definitely has to be one of the MVPs of this series or this rebuild. Always 1,000 yards, always close to 10 touchdowns. He did a little bit of everything very well. Receiving, Xavier Legette here never really got to the point of top tier receiver. He is, in my opinion, that these numbers are number 2 numbers, but you could argue that this year is like a number 1 receiver type of numbers. Like, he's shown glimpses, but just never enough, I guess. You could argue that Marcus Sear was our best ever drafted player, but he kind of had those 2 great seasons, and then he's kind of became a shell of himself. It feels like he's just kind of all hype. Caleb Tyson here, a guy that I really thought could become something, didn't. It's kind of unfortunate. The offensive line, we always had a quality line here, so I can't blame them. And then defensively, Brian Charles here did not have the sack numbers that we're kind of used to seeing from him over the last few years. He became just kind of more of a run stopper for us, so that's kind of unfortunate. But it looks like Derek Brown led us the way. Dexter Tate here looks like he's getting a lot of pressure from blitzes. And Marcus Handon here, or Harrison, after a very good year and kind of goes back down. It's kind of just unfortunate with this team. So, first 5-year rebuild is not a success. We did not win a Super Bowl. That is definitely frustrating. Yeah, guys, let me know down below what is the best really playbook, I guess, to use. It looks like the guard that we drafted is a superstar. Let's see the running back here. It's definitely interesting, the draft. I really do like the presentation that they did. I do think that they added some good stuff here in Madden 25. It's still a lot of work to do. Emmett Lane here, he is our dev. Defensively, we did draft an X Factor. We did draft, in fact, an X Factor here in Matthew McLennan here. A little too late. He's already a top 5 strong safety in the league. So that's unfortunate. And in this one video alone, we've gotten 3 trophies here on Steam. But could never really put it all together here. Derek Brown is still our best defender, probably still our best player. JC Horn might have kind of took a little bit of that role as well. Let's see what Larry could have been, because Larry, I didn't play him, didn't get an opportunity to be out on the field, and he is also star dev. So what, we drafted a superstar, we developed a player into a superstar, and we drafted an X Factor. So that, I mean, overall, the drafting wasn't terrible. I do think in years two and 3 are kind of like the building blocks, and I kind of messed those years up. It's been a while since I've done a 5-year rebuild like this type of style, so kind of on me. You know, drafting John Sanchez here, very much of a bust of a player. Should have just never picked him up. I thought that he could have been a better talent, the top 10 selection, and for him not even to crack multiple sacks in his career in 2 seasons, that's just a glaring need. But yeah, guys, let me know down below what you guys think I should do for the next rebuild, what team. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.